This is a Pyramid One International Network presentation. Hi, and welcome to A View of Humanity, and your host, Jamie Clark. Jamie discovered that he had the gift of psychic intuition and could also communicate messages and feelings between people living and those who have left this physical plane of existence. In other words, he can communicate with those who have loved and lost. Now, with thousands of powerful connections made worldwide and years of experience as his guide, Jamie offers this healing phenomenon to those who need it most. People searching for life, direction, guidance, as well as those seeking answers and closure from family and friends that have passed. Let me pass this on to you in his words, how Jamie's mediumship works. Triangulation of communication. Each of us is like a radio tuner, just like you're listening to right now. We have the ability to tune into many different channels. Before Jamie reads someone, he tunes into their loved one's channel and sends out an invitation of communication with you. Our souls are like fingerprints in a way that each of us is unique. Our loved ones know our soul print. And by my invitation, Jamie's invitation, and their realization, they now create a triangle of communication. Me or Jamie to them to you, and you to Jamie. They know that Jamie is on and are receptive and will sometimes come early to understand his rules and regulations and how most effectively to communicate. Now that we are all on the same channel, we work together as a team. A word from Jamie. Basically, everything has an energy signature. At a subatomic level, everything is vibrating at its own rate. He's developed the ability to understand the language of energy and interpret it for you. Life is a pure energy, and all is connected in some way. Your thoughts are what create your reality around you. By what you think about and how you perceive your reality, that is what you will attract in your life. Life doesn't happen to us. It happens because of us. Your host, may I introduce Mr. Jamie Clark. Well, there you go.
Oh, the voice of the big guy. Yo, brother, man. How you doing?
Oh yeah, we are getting there. I mean, we're getting close to the big season, man. I mean, it's like, hey, Christmases are something that's to me anyway. They're always special, you know. And it's just one of those things, you know. Like you have your tree up already.
Yeah.
I saw that. I have my tree up, but there's nothing on it.
Cool. Well, the
Well,
simple elegance of beauty.
yeah, but it takes 8 hours to put the thing up.
Well, start. I know, man. It was like, hey, I just having fun along the way, but being able to do that, that was really fun for Mag and I to have fun together, put our energy on that tree. Hey, just bringing up a point because that was an intro from a few years ago, right? That you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
sharing.
Yep.
Okay, just and those who know me know that I always talk about this stuff, but this experience right now, even though that was playing years ago, it was recorded years ago, when we're tapping in, it's kind of like psychometry or when I do an energy read for places or circumstances, it's playing out now. It doesn't matter if it was 100 million years ago. When it's playing out right now, here and now. But
Right.
not only that, through that quantum physics, the unification of everything, each and every one of you right here, right now, that are hearing and listening to this is in the past while you're in the present and in the future. And I asked Chi, I'm like, Chi, uh, how's it possible to have a future you if I haven't been there at the moment in the future as I perceive it? And his response was, well, Jamie, are you here now? I'm like, well, yes. He's like, well, it's pretty much like that. You right now are the future compared to your past, and the past compared to your future. It's all happening now.
Mhm.
And so, in being able to kind of lock into those, if I do an energy read like, oh, okay, here's where that past pattern was of the past of the, in this case, verbiage of what we were recording. And then here's where we're at this moment, in this moment of now. And then exactly like you were saying, Bob, we want to bring the past into the present, which ties
Right.
into the future,
Mhm.
because it's 1 + 1 = 2. And then 2 + 1 = 3. So it's kind of like a holographic universe. It is by the numbers. And a lot of those things will line up. But not only that, when I'm doing psychic readings for people, I'm connecting with future yous, or I wouldn't be getting the information. And I
Exactly.
just like to make people aware, yeah, it's because, I just do it all day long. So it's first nature, the essence of our being. But in addition, when I get that, and I'm usually very accurate for people to be like, well, I don't know how you did it, but you did. I'm like, well, you're the magic. I'm just reading your energy or I wouldn't be accurate.
Mm.
And so I'm about the empowerment. But when you can do that, and then it happens for the people, in this case, then it becomes solid to go, well, that was either really good guesswork or there was something to this, because the way that you spoke, you were psychically reading where I've been in my past, and that was very accurate. And then you were hitting the circumstances of work and the relationship of what I'm dealing with right now in the present. And
Right.
then you gave me a future potential, which I'm like, well, yeah, yeah, okay, sure, whatever, because, and then it happens.
Mhm.
Now it's got real. But I always, playfully and lovingly say, well, go, yeah, but my job is to be as accurate as possible. And if I've been fairly accurate with where you've been and kind of where you're at the moment, then I'm willing to bet this other third playing out for you is going to come up, because I'm already 2/3 of the way there with accuracy.
Mhm.
66 and 2/3%, man. Boom. That's the point. It's all happening now. And that's when you can start to create future memories as well. And what I mean by that, to me, the universe doesn't, there is no time and there is no good or bad to the universe. It's all but an experience. It's the vibrations that we kind of perceive our reality and what we vibe with: happy, sad, good, bad, all that kind of stuff. And within that, the ability to create a future memory, meaning each and every night, like last night, I mentally created a future memory of being at the end of this following day today, with this energy intent through everyone else's energy field and back to mine, with gratitude of being of service for those who even choose to vibe with the energy. Again, I wanted to make sure I'm not manipulating other people to get what I'm looking for. And I always have my intent, my mantra that I accept, and word for word, we're co creating this. And
Mhm.
so it's the intent, exactly. That each person, for their own choices, reasons, circumstances, and needs, will magnetize to me in every way that I may be of service to them. And by the time they leave my presence, they will feel more loved, connected, directed, and empowered. And you might feel a little of that while you're listening to this, and I didn't make you do it, like I didn't make you tune in. I've just done it 50 something years ago. Now it's first nature. And again, once I made sure I wasn't manipulating other people, I saw I was co creating. So, what I also make people aware of is if I'm getting the psychic aspect of what's coming up for you as a potential, I'm also getting future other people who might be co-creating this future with you. It's not manipulation, it's co-creation. Out of almost 8 billion people, we usually be very accurate with the interactions for others. And they're like, holy cow, how are you doing that? I'm like, well, I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm reading your thoughts and your attention to those thoughts, which creates vibrations of information. I read it. And the universe is very matter of fact. If you're planting those seeds, you must want them to grow. You wouldn't be planting them. If you're thinking those thoughts, you must want them to grow. You wouldn't be thinking them. Good, bad, happy, or sad.
You were just saying something about knowing from one period to another or to the end of a day and that or any way to do it like tomorrow, for instance. And I'm going to give you a little one too, and everybody out there in that too, and they've heard about Diane, the media director.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
She's a mean lady in it that beats the hell out of these people.
Keeps you straight and narrow, brother.
I'm serious.
She's
She is like
amazing.
she's crazy. Seriously. That's why I don't do it. But she has to go in for a CAT scan tomorrow.
Okay.
So she's got something with her throat or something. Anyway, long story short, when you were saying that you already know the end of your day, that's how the beginning. When I walk the dog in the morning and I do the 5 o'clock walk with the dog. During that time, when I come back, I know it's crazy, right? When I come back, I already know the end of the day.
Wow.
I'm at my go to bed spot.
Is that happening naturally? What are you doing with that? How do you know?
I don't know. I mean, I just come back. But first of all, and I've said this before, and I've said it to a billion other people left and right, and half of them, half of them retain the information, and half of them are like, he's crazy, yeah. But whatever they want to say, when you clear your mind, and of course you're going to agree with me on this, when you clean your mind, the world comes into the space that is now empty because you just cleared your mind. You can then beam out. You can receive these energies. You can see things that are going on. You can feel. My biggest thing is feel. It's not like seeing things. I don't imagine things or anything like that. It's feel. Like you feel what's going to happen, or you feel where you're going to be, or you feel that you're going to be at this spot at that time on that day in that year, and that's the way it works. Like you were saying, the future, and you and I have joked about this before. You're in Arizona. I'm in Florida. I'm ahead of you on time. Okay, let's take a jump. Okay, let's take the guy that's behind you, which is in Hawaii. So he's a couple of hours and that behind you there. The guys that are there that are playing with their volcanoes and everything else, who he's been on a couple of guys and that have been on the show and that already. Those guys are back. I would say if I had a clock in front of me, 12, somewhere around there.
Okay.
So it's 12 o'clock there. It's 4 o'clock by you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's 4 o'clock by you. It's 6:15 by me. Okay. And on my Studio C in Australia, it's tomorrow. And that
Yeah.
we're going to bed. He's getting up. He ain't up yet, but it's tomorrow.
Right. It's the future. Yet.
Or you and I are speaking in the now. So when people say to me, that's impossible, I say to them, no, it isn't. It happens every day, every second you breathe and believe you're standing here on this planet. So many people are not realistic. I would say realistic about the things that they think of because they're not thinking in the now.
In what way? Give me an example.
Well, look at the stuff that's going on TV right now. Let's take that for instance. Over 3 years ago, they were thinking about the future. You know what I mean? They are mapping out. They write on a piece of paper. This is what I'm going to do in 2020, and that's what they do, and they aim for that spot. But look at how long it took them to get there. I mean, it's like what you have to
Yet they
do.
already knew. They
Yeah,
knew the end result, just took the time a little longer sometimes or quicker.
exactly, exactly. So if somebody says, "Look, I want to do this," and well, all right, we have a girl that I talk to in that all the time. She wants to be a teacher. She right now works for Papa John's, a
Right.
pizza
Cool.
place.
Yeah.
But she went to school. She's got all the credits that she needs, except she might have to take one or two other courses. But down here in Florida, and I think she can actually go as a substitute teacher, and she can start like that and then build into the school system and things. And I said to her, I said, so what are you afraid of? She goes, well, I don't know whether I have to take the course first. And I got to do. I said, no. I said, what do you want? Just tell me what you want, and I'll tell you what to do. And she said to me, she says, no, I want to teach, and I want to take care of my little one and everything. I said, okay, end of story. That's it. Don't tell me anymore. I'm telling you what you do. If you don't do it, that's up to you. But I can tell you what to do. So she goes, what should I do? I said, fill out your paperwork, get everything ready. I said, go in for the substitute and everything. And for the summer, the beginning of the summer, well, our summer starts in March or April. So I said, as soon as it becomes summertime, I says, get into a school and take the extra course. Do it on the days that you're not when you are a substitute. Tell them days that you're going to be at school, so they don't book you on those days, so you're not screwed up for school. And I said, do that. And by the time you get to next September, I said, you will be able to go down and go into a class that's your class. And she goes, are you sure? I said, are you kidding? I'm positive. And she was like all kinds of crazy. She said, but, and I said, but nothing. Do it. So I don't know whether she's going to do it or not, but she's a very, very I mean, she doesn't think so, but she's a very brilliant person. You know, you can kind of look, you can feel her. Again, let's say feel.
Well, and you're genuine. So now we're like, really? You think so? You're like, well, to the best of my ability, yeah. And here's a technique and tool.
Mm-hmm.
And more likely, you put it to the test to go, well, I can only speak for me, but it's real and it works. So here you go. Because you said that with enthusiasm and certainty. Go, well, yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so now she's accepted that as a reality. You go, no, Bob's straightforward. He's talking about that. And I know he's not crazy. He's a little weird, but he's not crazy. But I'm going to put that stuff to the test. So he seems to believe in me more than I do myself. And sometimes, like I do, that little energy alone can amplify people to go, somebody else who believes in me just by being me. And not only that, they're not talking down to me. They're talking with me and not just to me. And, like I do, it doesn't matter what you do. It's who you are, the essence of your being. To me, that's the power, right? Because I remember when I was younger and I didn't have any money, nothing. I washed dishes, all that stuff going, no, I'm going to be me. But I always, in my soul, I didn't know I'd do this professionally, but in my soul, I just, some people would look down at me going, oh, you little person doing the dishes. I'm like, certainly understandable. You have no idea who you might be talking to. I just always had that fullness of my soul, not fullness of crap, fullness of my soul to go, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'm going to do the best me that I can.
You know what? Let me stop you for a second. You should have turned around to the guy and said, yes, but I'm a professional.
He'd be like, what, boy?
Yeah. I'm serious. Watch. Well, I'm serious. I've done that already. I've pulled that one already.
But not only that, sometimes the practicality will limit you. And as I always say, that when I first started doing this professionally 20 years ago, because I've been doing it my whole life, and everyone, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I always say, everyone's a psychic medium. But I was 17 years of hospitality, which was my training of communication, talking with others on every level, and the amount of abundance and careers. I mean, I worked at Marriott Camelback Inn in the Four Seasons, which are decently well-known places. And they would have at the Camelback Inn, mostly of those, all the ball players, the actors and actresses. Oprah Winfrey, as I've shared, I believe that with her, which was, I have a lot of appreciation and respect for Oprah and the way that she handled things. But in addition, anyhow, there was a lot of other dynamics that I got to be on a day-to-day basis. And I went from being terrified to speak in front of people. I would literally take a 0 or an F or whatever it was so that I didn't have to do that. And now that's all I do, is communicate and talk in the public awareness. But it was a step-stage process to get me there. I already just felt in my soul that I had that power. I didn't know what it was, except that it was within me, and I knew that I had greater things coming up for me. Even though I was sitting there broke and nothing and just riding a bike, no vehicle, nothing, I Anything I talk about, ladies and gentlemen, I put to the test for me. That's all I can speak about. But I think, like Bob as well, once you have that firsthand experience, now it's real. Now there's solidness. Secondhand is nice, but that's a relative aspect. Firsthand is, I can only speak for me. Here's what I did, and here's how it turned out. And Bob, you're always playful and informative, which is along the lines of what I do. I want to keep it light, man. Have fun with this. I found for my life doing this that the more serious I would get about trying to do the spiritual, the more serious things would get. I'm like, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, it's too heavy.
So, yeah, it is, man. And that's the thing is I always keep myself safe. My energy, my house, everything that's connected to me is always safe and connected and sealed. Because otherwise I found when I wasn't keeping myself safe, I would wear other people's energies. I'd be like, ding, dong. And then if you don't know what's your own thought process and perception and what's other people's, you'll have all this information going, is that mine or someone else and so, it'll be like,
Yep.
So it becomes a neutralization for me. And those who know me know I don't mean to be rude or flippant. It's just emotionally, I'm not connected to the information. If I'm good, your people are great. If it's mediumship, if it's psychic, you're great. All I'm doing is reading your thoughts. And, I used to always think that not every psychic is a medium, but every medium is definitely psychic.
Right.
Yeah. And she was like, well, Jamie, what do you do when you read for somebody psychically? My response was, I read their thoughts, their attention to those thoughts, which creates vibrations of information, and I read it. And he's like, okay, what do you do with mediumship? Connect to their thoughts, their attention to those thoughts creates vibrations of information, and I read it. The only difference to me between a psychic read and mediumship read, a psychic read is in the physical body. Mediumship read is out of the physical body. Don't you find it interesting why they tend to refer to us as psychic mediums? Is my point. Yeah, let's do it.
Let us see.
Yeah. How you doing, huh?
Yeah, there's someone in the telephone room. The beginning number is 604. Who's there? I can hear you when you speak. Go ahead. Person on the phone.
The great unknown. The
Yeah,
nothing is the everything. 604. That's a fairly unique. I don't think I've had that one before. Wait a minute. 6 and 4. That's 10. 1. New beginnings.
All right. Who's on our telephone right now?
Robert from New Orleans.
All right. Say that again so we can hear you a little better.
Robert from New Orleans.
Robert from New Orleans.
And how are you doing, Mr. New Orleans? How is good things going, Robert?
It's raining right now. Raining and getting cold.
Oh, God. Well, at least you're not getting a big old hail, hopefully. Man, over in Phoenix, we got some people pummeled with big old freaking...
Snow, hail.
Yeah, exactly. Freaking, it's crazy, but those get so big, they shatter people's windshields. They put dimples in people's cars. Like I've seen them literally, they look like a golf ball. They had so many ding, 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 ding. A lot of times people have to trash the car. So what's up, Robert?
Right here, by the way, it was 86.
Oh, nice.
And sunny.
We finally got some sun.
So you want to talk about going the future and the what? Yeah, okay.
Right. And Robert, what's going on, sir? How can we be of service to you? What you looking for?
I was just calling to see if I could get some insight as to what might take place in 2020.
For you, Robert, you got a pretty intensified energy. Like, woo, you pushing some energy out, man. You speak from diaphragm. And that kind of a connection is powerful. Plus, I also feel like, without being too general, Robert, because you're very straightforward, which I like, but also I feel like maybe in the past 3 months, you've had to put some parameters around a person or circumstance. Like, okay, you know what? Here's where I am and here's where we are. We can agree to disagree, or boom, you've cut something off. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a negative in any way, but it will let you know where more effectively you're standing with the person or the circumstance. Now, Robert, as I'm tapping in, if you don't have your own business or oversee people, you vibe where you have a good orchestration to oversee people, or you do have your own business in some way. Does that make any sense at all? Do you have your own connection?
Yeah, I don't have my own business, but I'm an outside sales rep for an insurance agency.
Okay, that's decent. That's good with people and stuff. But besides that, and as soon as you said the insurance aspect, again, just because anything is offered does not in any way mean you have to choose it, Robert. But you're vibing with a few different work opportunities or career opportunities. So I'm sure that you're very successful and you may not want to change anything, but even if that's the case, watch at least two different opportunities will be offered to you. One feels like a partnership with another person there with that one, potentially the partnership thing, I feel like either you might know the person or have worked with them before, or there's a familiarity, like they know of you through somebody, but there's a familiarity to the energy of this person. Now again, it doesn't mean you have to choose it, but I almost feel like you're going to more than likely be doing multiple things in 2020. Not to the detriment to go, oh Lordy, I'm working 80 hours a day. It's not like that. I feel like if you choose to do what you're doing still like that, you'll be able to kind of implement this other opportunity or this business in a very productive way. And it kind of vibes where with this other opportunity, at least one of them is mainly on the computer. So it'll have the versatility, like I do when you're on the computer and you have that connection. You can go anywhere in the world because we're always connected. But I also feel like, even though I know you're great with people, I feel like you're very protective about who you hang out with. Make sense?
Yes.
Now, have you been thinking about doing something else? Because I kind of feel like in the past 5 months or sooner, okay, it could have been today, but even though I know you're very excited about what you're doing at the moment, I almost feel like you've been entertaining other opportunities or other careers. Make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking because the company just isn't where it needs to be, as far as support.
Yes, sir. And you can do the Lone Ranger nicely, but when you have to keep doing it, it'll start to, as you know, become a little bit challenging. You go, no, I'm doing it, but kind of feel like it's a thankless thing, and I feel like they're adding more to it. So
Right,
in that,
exactly.
yeah, believe me, I understand. Now, within that, that's another contributing factor why, again, at least a couple of opportunities, Robert, not just one, but a couple will be offered to you. And I feel like there's like a 90% chance that you will entertain at least one of these and or do it. And again, it's not discombobulating. It's like, finally, you know what? If I'm having to do all of this stuff, it's for myself, not just for a company that expects more and doesn't even back me in what I'm doing. It's like, good luck, and there you go, Robert. Show us what you can do. You're like, I'm freaking trying, but don't go off in another direction. I just feel like, in a way, that the company that you're working with, whoever they are, like you said, there's changes, but there's either like letting other people go or, there's like a reorganizing in a very strong way. Does that make sense? Have they been doing any adjustments or major reorganizing?
Well, they've been doing adjustments, and I lost you there for about 20 seconds. So some of it I caught, some of it I didn't. They are doing some reorganizations. They expect more out the agents, but they don't want to. I guess you could say belly up to the bar and pay more.
Yep, exactly. That's again another reason why I feel like a couple of people. So if you're a very small company and you're pretty much one of the main players because you are in that connection, but I do feel like there's a variety of other people in there, and I feel like at least two that you're connected to will end up leaving that company. You'd be like, okay, because this other person, at least one of them, I feel like, well, they were talking about longevity with this. And what's interesting is they kind of are backing me and what I'm feeling to go, now they're feeling like they're being pushed on more as well, but not being compensated or appreciated. And then when they make their move, you'll be like, well, you know what? Well, frick it. If they can do it, then maybe I can do it. Click. Like I do, it's not easy to go, oh, be positive when you got a major dynamic that's happening or not happening. And so within
Right.
this,
Right.
yes, sir. Within this, I just feel like Be open because you'll end up doing this job for a little while longer. Okay. But I do feel like 3 months or sooner from this day, unless it's recently been offered, is at least one of the opportunities first offered. 3 months from this day or sooner.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in addition, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's a help. That's a good insight.
Yeah, and the great thing is Robert, I love you, but I'm not going to make crap up, man. If I get it, here it is. If not, I don't have a clue. I'm always genuine and honest. I don't know everything, but at least I'm aware of some things. Now, in addition, I kind of feel like that's a little general. Without being too general, if you, Robert, have not gotten a new phone in the past 3 months or sooner prior to this day, then don't misplace it, break it, or lose it. Okay? Because I feel like, if you haven't had it in the past 3 months, strong potential coming up. Have you been thinking about a new phone or another phone, or did you have some oddball thing happen?
No, I mean I've had this phone for a couple years, and it actually works better than most iPhones. So I hadn't really thought about a new phone. Should I?
Nope. That's okay. I'm just gonna say, make sure, just like that, you're vibing with that phone. Beautiful. You've had it for years. Don't accidentally break it, like crack the window thing, because for some reason I get like a crack in the phone. Or just make sure you don't misplace it or forget it someplace. And I know you're very conscious of that, but when that is that strong, I'll be like, no, I could certainly be wrong, but I guess we'll see. Usually I'm pretty good. My point is, in that connection, the conversation and your communication has been very good for the past couple of years. But now things are starting to change, and the communication, which in the interior first, the mental thoughts and like, what do I want in my life and what am I going to say to get more of what I'm looking for, is going to be stronger. And a lot of times when that happens, that will usually translate into a new phone, don't break it or lose it, that kind of thing. And not that I'm always right, but sometimes I'll say something to a person who I haven't seen before, and they'll be like, "Yeah, right." I'm like, "No, I could
Right.
certainly be wrong," but I guess we'll see. And then they end up calling back, going, "What else you got to say? Because I thought you were full of crap, and it all happened." Now, anything coming out of my big mouth is the gospel. So I also feel like there's like a person around you within the company that don't be surprised if they do this. Hey, Robert, if you get another place, you got to let me know. I won't come with you. You'd be like, wow, this person is genuine. They mean that. And the great thing is what that tells me is they're not going to say it unless it's there and they want to stay connected to you. If you're some, oddball, they're not going to go, yeah, he's crazy, I'm going to go hang with him. No, it'll be this person's looking at you for more validation that if you say something or make a decision, you pretty much already thought it through for the most part, or I don't feel like you'll say it. You feel very effective on communication. I would say anyone can talk, but who can communicate? You've got that communication.
Okay.
Okay, now here's the thing. Yeah, you'll have a couple of jobs. 3 months or sooner is the first one. The second one kind of vibes like June, July or sooner, but June, July touches my mind for the next one. Now, here's the dynamic. There's another one at least offered. There could be two others offered after the first two, but near the end of 2020, okay, like the last 3 months, 4 months at the most prior to the end of 2020, an opportunity is offered career-wise or work-wise, and it does not feel the most productive. Okay, whoever this person is, they're saying one thing and it can't quite add up to what they're saying, or they're saying one thing and they don't intend on adding up. Okay, but it's got a very low, it's got like a wow energy to it, which to me dips down. So a lot of times when that happens, if it goes down, that usually means that's the end of that connection usually, and that'll open you up to a new one. But I also feel like you're starting to be open to go, well, no, I'm very talented with what I do, but I'm going to also use my talents of communication and talking in order to do something else. because the main product is you. No matter what mechanism or what, category you're in, you're the essence of what they're vibing with. It's not just a work thing, it's your connection to that work thing.
Okay.
Okay, so don't be surprised. The herd is thinning a little bit, but don't be surprised if they ask you to do a little bit more, Robert. Like, hey, Robert, we're kind of reorganizing this area here. And if you're interested, I'd love to maybe have you keep an eye in that area there. And, if somebody has questions, maybe you can be the go-to person. And then, see where that goes. And you'd be like, well, okay, sure. But the good thing is if you choose to do that, you'll be in a position to where people can trustingly and I want to say comfortably open up more effectively to you than possibly to the higher ups or the owners or that kind of thing, which tells me you are a good communicator when you want to be.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So again, just some information, but and Bob always has these in archive. Just our show alone, Bob and I have done have been hundreds of them over the past 8 years, I think, right around there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plus.
And yeah. So in that capacity, just kind of use this as a gauge. And again, not that everything happens, but I'm usually pretty good. And so when that stuff is happening, if it hasn't happened already, then if I'm good, you're great. I'm just reading your thoughts, what you think about, and your attention to those thoughts, which brings vibrations of information, and I read it, as I was just sharing. So trust it. The more you can, if you don't know what you want to do, where you want to go, or what you want to be, how do you want to feel? Successful, fulfilled, happy, abundant. There is no limit. And for me, if any of those qualities are there that you want, like happiness or abundance, take yourself back to an earlier life experience when maybe you had some abundance or you were happy, and not that you're not happy now, but you know what I'm saying. Recall that memory. Just go back and sit in that memory and recall it. Now, here's the thing. Robert, can you think of in any time in your life of a joke or an experience that was just hilarious, that had you rolling in any way? Can you think of that? Any experience?
Yeah.
Lordy. Damn, you slow. Perfect. Look, my point is, all you were doing is shifting your thought. You were looking through your soulscape of awareness for a particular experience that happened that gave you that emotional positive connection. Even before you were shifting your thought, you were on the positive channel, or you wouldn't have tuned into that. My point is, look at the emotional response you'll get from that just by thinking about that past experience. It's not even happening yet, but yet it's happening because you're pulling from that experience of now, and it will empower you even more effectively. That kind of, you're not making crap up, you're just recalling a memory. My thing is Robert, you need to put this to the test. Anything I talk about, I need to know it's real. Otherwise, I get what you think about and accept it, and kind of like The Secret, which is beautiful. It's a very nice tool. However, I have a lot of people come to me and they're like, and I've seen The Secret, and I see it all around. And I'm like, and how's it working? And it's not working because they're still seeing it in the illusionary aspect. And most of us, rather than living proactive, like I say, I always accept my reality before I'm even there. Most of us tend to live in a reactive state. And here's what I mean. If I have this job, then I feel successful. And if I have this amount of money, then I feel wealthy. And we'll wait for that outside physical manifestation of the job or the money to manifest to feel successful and wealthy. When if you'll start feeling that way before it's anywhere in sight, you're now sending a signal of wealthy, happiness, and abundance, whatever it is, that will bring you a match back with the opportunities of happiness, joy, abundance, success. And then people are like, God, you're so lucky, Robert. How are you doing that? And you're like, yeah, luck, coincidence. My thing is put it to the test so you know the practicality of spirituality.
Okay.
Okay, so hang in there, and if you would, please keep us posted, because I'm willing to bet you're going to have these other opportunities offered to you. Again, doesn't mean you have to choose it, but I just want to be that road sign of potential. Here's most likely what you have coming. Do you like it or do you not? That way it makes you proactive to go, okay, if that were to happen, I might do bada bing. Okay, that way you've already got an awareness before it's even there. You have an idea of what you will or won't do more solidly.
Right.
Which is perfect, because I feel like you've gotten frustrated enough to go, frick it, something's changing. Oh, yeah, you first. And then the reality second.
True.
Okay.
Robert, can I have your attention for a second?
Sure.
Okay, this is Bob Charles speaking to you. This is how you can get a copy of this show. Send me an email, and I will send you the links to where you go to either listen to the show, watch the show, download the show. This way here you can actually listen tomorrow, the next day, of what was said tonight. And someday you're going to call back this show and you're going to say, you know what you said on that day, because you looked at that video, you knew exactly what was going to happen to you before it happened. So
Okay.
here's the address. And now you're in British Columbia.
No, I'm in New Orleans.
New Orleans. What are you doing with a British Columbian number?
No, my area code is 504.
Oh, okay. So it comes up 604.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's interesting.
that's interesting. Yeah.
Hey, so here's the thing, Robert. Let me just point it out symbolically to go, no, Bob and I were seeing or looking at 604. But I also made the comment, and if you watch this whole show, you'll see, wait a minute, 6 and 4 is 10. 1 is symbolic of new beginnings. And you're like, well, no, it's 504, I believe you said. And 5 and 4 is 9, which is the sign of completion. Oh, isn't it weird that on a phone, which to me is also symbolic of communication, that your real number in this case is the 504, which is your own acknowledgement of the changes that are about to happen. And Bob and I are looking and go, no, I believe it was a 604, and it looked pretty solid like a 6. However, that tells you that what we were just talking about has a very strong potential to start manifesting. And again, I just do this daily, so I see life very symbolic. But I just want to point that out to go, well, Bob's the main man. He's seeing it on the phone or wherever he's seeing it. I'm getting it secondhand on that way. But I know Bob doesn't make crap up. And when he says it, yeah, when he says it, he means it. So I just wanted to point that out because I question everything. But I've realized that there is a lot of validity to numbers and shapes and all those kinds of things, that this is a holographic universe. So my point is, be more clear on what you're looking for, and your communication will rise in more productive energy. But watch, and then you'll play this back going, that's freaking weird. It's just kind of oddball, but 604 and then 504, which is the point. The first thing was 604, which tells me, as we were talking, it will be new beginnings for you. Watch.
Oh.
Yeah, because we're all psychic-like.
There you go, Robert.
And
now, let me give you the address you write to. Are you ready?
Go.
Okay. Bob Charles at USA.com. And just say that Bob Charles at USA.com.
Got it.
There you go. Right to that address, and tell me that you were a telephone guest on the show, and there you go. I will send you all the information.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob.
I'll make a plan. Thank y'all.
There you go, Robert. You have a great evening.
Keep us posted, please.
Thank you.
Awesome. And look, from one phone call, he's the one who called. He's the one who reached out and possibly may have been open for some information, some insight, a different perspective. And then he got it. And then not only that, you and I as a team are responding to his one phone call, yet he just magnetized it times 2. And that's kind of what I'm saying. That's why I wanted to point out to go, when you play it back, you hear me say, wait a minute, 604, I haven't seen that number before. And it makes sense because there is no number like that.
I'm serious. I'm looking at the thing, and I put it on the computer, and I says, well, where is 604? So I came down. Whoops, wrong mouse. I got 4 mouse in front of me.
Now Mickey's coming. All right,
area 604 is a telephone area code that serves southwestern British Columbia.
Wow.
So I'm looking at it on one screen over there, and I put it in the other screen over here, and here's where I got the answer from. So
that's powerful. But also, in addition, a little bit of validation is the comfort level.
yeah,
He's got a major change of potential. Like in this case, he's in the USA, but he's also got, at least we were perceiving that the number was connected to British Columbia. It's like, no, I'm in this place. And the great thing is even though we were perceiving that it was 604 and we're already picking up energy, he was coming from pretty much needing some bridge to get out of the business that he's at as a potential if he needs to. And the great thing is he got information. Not only that, he got a link from you that if he acts on it again, very same subject, he'll get even more insight and information by listening to the entire show, not just a clip, the whole show.
yeah. Well, don't forget how many years now we've been doing this. He's connecting. He is actually connecting to millions of people.
Yep, exactly.
So, I mean, scary, yes, but he did. And when he writes, don't forget though too, the video will go. You'll have a copy of the video. The video will be in the archive. It'll also be on my YouTube channel.
Awesome. I know that's coming on nicely. Good job.
Good. And we also have you been in the landing page?
Not just recently, no.
Boo, bad guy.
I know. I've been very busy. I just haven't looked at anything. So what's on it? What do you have on there?
Well, right dead center in the middle of the screen of the landing page is whatever the live show was last.
Oh, cool.
So what happens is when you go into the landing page, you get the videos. There's a copy right on the bottom. You can play any one of the ones that were already put in that screen or in the little archive right behind the screen. So you can play all those too. Plus, then you get the chat box and the blogs and all the rest of the stuff too. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. We kind of grew up a little bit, and the number that we have now that made it very easy now for people all over the world to call in on or listen. Some of them are listening to. That number, we are working right now with the company that gave us this opportunity to get just one number. So somebody can call just one number. You just call this one number and bing, you're in there. So I'm working on that one now. And hopefully by 2020, and that we'll have that. And of course, you know about the other thing, the American Party, which is really, I mean, I'm getting some interesting emails, but when I start getting some of these people on the show, maybe you should be in the background when these people are here and you can read them while I come in. But what I'm getting when these people are coming in and they're talking and everything else, it's my mail looks the same as if you go on first thing in the morning, you go on The Hill. It's a newspaper kind of thing, and that's out on the internet out of Washington. Okay. So it's thehill.com, obviously.
Thank you.
But what happens is if you just click on the main story, no matter what it is, go to the bottom where the comments are, and all the way down the bottom, you may have to put your name in there and then register whatever it is in that for it. It's Discus that goes to Twitter. So you register yourself there so you can see the comments. If you look at the comments, you'll feel, I mean, like I do in the morning, every morning, you feel what or where the public is going, where the mass consciousness is going. See, now that's a whole nother ball game. Okay, that's like weird. Now with the American Party, I'm going to have people call in and tell me what is their concern about this country, about what they're doing, about what the country's doing for them, et cetera, et cetera. When people do that, if enough of them do it, and I hope they take the benefit of doing something like that, when they do that, that becomes a trend, and the trend becomes the conscious direction of where your life is going. These people, through their own callers or their own calling in, will push the consciousness actions to where they have to be. At the same time, what this company is going to do, or what we're going to do, is we are going to, look through all those things and name or beam out certain people in certain dates, like certain senators or representatives or whatever. I'll call them first or call the office first or whatever else. Listen, I got these comments, from people. I want you to look at them. You want to stay voted in? You better look at them first.
That's great.
Now, I can
Goodness.
take all those things and all those people that didn't want to go out of their way to write a representative, I can do it with one click. so
That's
so
awesome. Exactly.
it's about time that these people that we vote to do a job for us, they don't come down to the guy never came in my driveway and that over here and said, "Listen, Bob Charles, you know what? This is what we're doing that in the state. What do you think?" They never asked me what I think of anything. As a matter of
Well,
fact, one of the things that most of them do say is, "We're doing this for your benefit." Well, who asked me what it is for my benefit?
yep.
There's two subjects there: benefit and what you did. Okay, what did you do? Was it a secret? Am I going to know about it? And how much did you make? See?
Of the people and for the people. Now it's of the government and for the government. And you know
Right.
what they refer to us besides the people anymore? Consumers.
Right. Well, because America, look, they're going nuts and then on TV and everything about the Constitution. Does anybody out there really, really know what the Constitution is? It's the articles of a corporation.
Remember, things
America
change.
is a corporation. That's where corporations started, was the Constitution. But
Wow.
nobody, I mean, when I talk, I'm sorry. I mean, the history, that's just something that I follow. I have my whole life. I loved it. And I was just talking to a bunch today, and they said, "Well, what did you do that was weird?" I said, "Well, my mother actually let me stay home from work, from school, when Shepard took the first mercury shot, the 15-minute one." I said, when Kennedy was shot, my mother turned on the TV for 3 days, and I sat there and watched it for 3 days. And I also read every book in that about it, and finally figured out that the whole thing was a hoax, only because the guy turned around and he said the same thing Trump did. He was going to drain the shrimp, the swamp. And what had actually happened was, in his day, in Kennedy's day, he was going to streamline the government. He didn't say drain the swamp. He said streamline the government. 2 weeks later, he got shot in Houston.
Yeah, what a coincidence.
And a bunch of other things that he said too. But the idea of the whole thing is every single president that ever tried to go across or not be the puppet of the media, which the media runs the Congress, okay, and the media runs the Congress, but the Congress pulls the strings of the president. The president can't do anything unless it goes through Congress. If the Congress turns around and says, "Go fly a kite," the president is stuck. So the president is always a puppet, except this one. This one was a businessman first. He outbusinessed the Constitution. I mean, the Congress. So I mean, I'm kind of excited to see how this whole thing pans out, because I mean, seriously, ever since it started in 2016, actually 3 weeks before the president was sworn in, the original starter of this whole thing, which I'm not going to go into names and everything else, there's too many of them, but I'm just going to say that the people that started this whole thing started it 3 weeks before he was sworn in. They already said that if he got in, they would impeach him. That was 3 weeks before. But that's the only one that's written down. Somebody wrote it down. But it might have even been before that.
Wow. Isn't it interesting?
Yeah. I mean, and what's going on right now, and the people that are saying it, you're looking at TV, you're believing that these guys are, definitely not reptilians, but but not too far from.
Right, representatives.
The representatives. I mean, they're brilliant people, but they're just not using any of their education
And common sense.
I mean, I can read a book too. You know what I mean? I can get on a microphone and I can read something off a card or something. Journalists do it every day. How many journalists do you see on CNN, NBC, CBS, MCS, SENBC or whatever, and what was the other one? There's so many of them. But the idea of the thing is, how many of these guys that do you see that are actually reading a screen? They're not telling you what's in their heart. Now, you take a guy like Costel or one of those guys now from years and years and years ago, the old guys, they told you exactly what they wanted to, and they really, they didn't swear on TV, but I'm telling you, they were so close so many times.
Right.
That's why the FCC put up the law. You can't say the 7 words you can't say on TV. It started with those guys. And
Wow.
they actually turned around, and at that time, they would turn around and they would say, I'm not asking you to listen to me. I'm asking you to use your brains and do the right thing. And that's what they would say. You'll never see that on any card in any journalist thing in any TV station anywhere in the world, not even on the radio.
Yep. Remember, kind of like you're saying, the news is the orchestrator. Remember, things only matter as long as they're in the news. Once they're out, they tend to disappear from consciousness. That's why, on average, they will do multiple things very similar right around the same time, so that when it's out of the news, zip, it's being perpetuated even more so. Because you got to reinforce that. You do it multiple times. Now people get power numbers. Now they get the amplified conscious awareness of what they're thinking or seeing and feeling, all of those. And then it becomes a very good tool of manipulation. I'm just little old me. So I don't make any waves. I'm just sharing a little information here and there. But do not kid yourself. As you know, that all those people only hold the power they're given. That's it. No more, no less. And within that, it's not only the government or the other representatives and stuff that have the power over the president. It goes way beyond that for people who aren't even in the government.
Yes.
Might have a lot of abundance and powerful connections. Isn't it interesting? Pardon my ignorance, I forget the one guy who was arrested for child trafficking and that kind of thing.
I forget his name too. I mean, he didn't.
Yeah, just coincidentally, even though
supposed to hang, but didn't.
All right, well, and kind of weird, but coincidentally, multiple cameras went down. It's weird. What a coincidence. And yet, you can't really do anything about it. So, it gets just the oddball things.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Thank you. So, excuse me, when you have those kind of connections, and apparently some of the people who enjoyed those dynamics of what that guy was accused for and about, they will make sure that it goes no further than that. Because that now became the cutoff point to go, well, they're not going to proceed anymore. That's it. They're done for the most part. So they know how to rectify that. But gone. Oh, well, we don't know, but he took his own life. Yeah. Well, then there was nothing in there and all that. Well, that's impressive. So, again, you only sound like a conspiracy nut till it's validated.
No, he's going to turn around and he's going to say, well, it's not going to cost us anymore. So
isn't it interesting? And especially with that kind of circumstance, people aren't that tolerable. Going, you go freaking do that to kids? Let me show you what's going to happen to you. Like, ooh, damn. But
my point was actually, and you can tell this just by what's going on in England, how many people up that ladder, how many people in powerful positions were with that guy at his place. There were so many. I mean, we're not talking the like Trump as a powerful person. He's not powerful enough. We're talking guys over his head.
Exactly.
So, of course, when you mess with those guys, anything can happen.
Yeah, and it did. It went to nothing. And, again, so without being too conspiracy things, all of this stuff is very practical and it's been going on for a long time. But now with the technology and all the connections, now it's becoming more acknowledged. People are having an awareness of it more. Back in, remember, we didn't have GPS. We're knocking for a phone call with the payphone going, where the frick am I? And so, a lot of things have been brought together. But in addition, that's also become a very powerful tool for the powers that be and the orchestration and all that kind of stuff of humanity. That's why these some of those people don't play by the laws and the rules and regulations. They're seemingly, beyond that. Like, oh, let's do it.
Another thing you were saying though too, and you also have the what do you call it? Oh gosh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Um, well, never mind. The thing is that the powers that be, whomever they be it advertisers or media, giants and or whatever else. Okay, how many people out there have smart TVs? Okay, now when you have all those TVs today, now you use your remote that you talk to. You talk to the remote, it does anything you want to on the TV. Show me this show, show me that show, show me this show. Do you know? And nobody knows this. I swear to God, this is so funny. But I was in the communication business for a while, so I found out. But that remote that you're talking to Alexa on is watching everything you're watching and reporting it back to whomever.
And
They know exactly what's going on in your house.
yeah, huh? Now, what's even more interesting, and again, ladies and gentlemen, whatever works for you, Bob and I just sharing, that's it. But also, there's a lot of people who graciously have cameras inside their house.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you've heard, I believe that a number of years ago, right, there was a gentleman from Russia who tapped into like, I don't know, 70,000 homes and had all of that. Plus, any computers, any of those can be turned on from a distance, and yet it's not on. Yet they can see you through the camera, they can hear you. There's a lot of technology that they have that it goes way beyond that.
Yeah.
So again, without being too paranoid, I just, friends or that kind of connection, I'll just share and point things out to go, well, if you've got this and you have any kind of a distant signal, that's a signal that's in the air that people can have technology to tap into. And they can watch you through all of those. And I could go on and on about that because holy crap.
I have a way. There is a way in that to stop all that in your house. You know those. You know the strips that you plug into.
Yes, sir.
Got an on and off switch on it. Get one of those switches, a small one, and you put it on the table right next to whatever the computer or TV or whatever else you're using. At the end of the day, when you turn off your TV, go up to that pad and just turn off the pad. When there's no energy, they can't hack you. So you can turn it off. You can turn off your modem if you want to. It doesn't matter. So you don't have any Wi-Fi running around your house, and disturbing your sleep or giving you headaches and that or any of that.
Excellent.
Same slip, same strip. And at the end of the day, when you're all finished with everything you're going to do and you're going to go to bed, just go click, and that's it. You're at peace.
Okay, that is awesome, and I'm sure that that's the case. But it was interesting that there was some show where they were talking and doing that, and a gentleman was sitting there with his computer off, nothing was on. He's just sitting in front of it, but he was talking with a good friend of his. Well, his friend was fairly creative and intelligent with technology. And so he tapped into his computer that was sitting in front of this guy that wasn't on, that he's talking to him, and it shows the camera of the gentleman who's sitting in front of the computer that was being eyeballed from his friend. And he's like, oh, he had this pen or this flower, and his friend's like, what are you holding that that flower pen for? And he's like, what? Huh? How would you know that? And yet his computer was off. So maybe he didn't turn off the modem or that kind of thing. But I thought, that's very creative. They could see you without that screen even on. The guy freaked out to go, it wasn't on. It was blackness. What the?
Yeah, if the guy that was on Wi-Fi, it's more dangerous.
I bet. So, again, it's all these technologies with all the benefits can be detriments as well. So, staying in the connection. But the crazy thing is the very technology that's bringing everyone together is separating us, because here's how most people are. Bip, and here's my phone, and here it is. And so they don't even have the communication, the old school. Remember talking, sending and receiving? That's the communication. And one other thing with the tools and techniques of getting everyone in their own little world, as I've shared before, I was at a place over here in Phoenix called Desert Ridge, and it's an outdoor shopping center. It's a very nice place. anyhow, I was there in the evening time. And remember the game, I think it was Pokemon, that was on the GPS satellites, and they're looking around at all the places and locations to find them? It was freaking weird. I was walking with a couple of friends of mine, and there was a bunch of people in the mall area, and 90% of everybody that was there, young, medium, old, it didn't matter, 90% was not saying anything at all as they're walking around in front of them. And I'm like, that's freaking crazy. Not even, I just thought, man, it's such a big distraction. It's not even. But not only that, when they first came out with it, I'm like, oh man, yeah, creative game, but then they're going to have people walking out in the street, not paying attention, getting nailed by cars and bump. And that started happening. Like, okay, now the bennies are not that good. But it also is that interconnectedness that got everybody brought together, yet separated right in the front of each other. It was just a weird vibe for me. It's like, wow.
Strange stuff. Well, let's tell everybody where they can get in touch with you and say Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah, and connect with me, jamieclark.net. You can email me at insight@jamieclark.net. I love it, Bob. You the gift that keeps giving, brother. That's beautiful. I've got some Christmas hats on my King Tut statue in the other room and a few others, which is great. If we could have the holiday cheer every day, God, that would be nice. We've just gotten so used to focusing in a certain time frame to go, that's the love and connection. And let's be a little bit nicer if we can. And so people are a little bit more relaxed. If we just keep that state of mind to realize the biggest gift of that is to give it to ourselves in communication to live life more than just survive it. And so, on that aspect, I'm also doing a few documentaries and coming out, which is nice, and Life to the Afterlife. I Died, Now What? Which is great. A number of psychic mediums, they're calling us experts, but I'm like, okay, whatever, I don't know nothing, but I'll share. But, like James Van Praagh, John Holland, and a variety of other people, and myself included, were able to be interviewed on this documentary. And Craig McMahon, great guy, very nice. I was working with him on another TV show a number of years ago. And so he's also going to be doing a series, and I'm going to have the opportunity, I believe, to be connected to at least a couple of other episodes as we go along. So I'll keep you posted on what's happening, but already some of the filming that we've done for some of those is very interesting, EVPs, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, so cool.
Really, yeah, exactly. And it's that kind of practicality of spirituality. If at least you can share that information and then give it to humanity, at least there's more knowledge that they can be connected to. They don't have to accept it, but it is there. And that's what I'm about, empowerment. That's why I've done the scientific studies and all that to go, now we've quantifiably proven life after life. Now, whether you accept it or not is fine. Kind of like, well, to me, it doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. The sun still shines on both. The rain falls equally on all. You happen to believe in God, to me, is like telling yourselves, you better believe in me. Really, you're them, they're you. What are you allowed to be? What they are. Unconditionally.
Well, there you go.
It's all about the love.
And you can write to this boy at insight@jamieclark.net or go to his website. It is awesome. I'm telling you right now, and I've been on it a billion times, maybe, just to see what he's saying next.
Good. And we've got...
go to www.jamieclark.net.
Yes. So check it out, ladies and gentlemen. If I can be of service, I am honored. I am here for you. In addition, we have a podcast called Psychic Evolution. It's on pretty much all of the different channels from Stitcher to everything. So we wanted to give the versatility. And we now have done our 16th episode. We have one more episode that we're going to record, which will be the 17th. And then we're going to go for the next season. So it's kind of cool that on the very last show is the number 17. 7 and 1 is 8. 8 is metaphysical to the physical. Turn it on its side, it becomes infinity. So it's kind of a nice validation for myself and Maggie that we're doing this together, man. We're having fun. So if you get a chance, again, it's Psychic Evolution. And it's the new wave, same old information, just in an updated way. That spirituality and quantum physics is now spiritual physics, the practicality of spirituality. That's the point. It's so natural. It's supernatural.
Well, there you go. As we always say, you know what? Got the season coming up. We got Christmas coming up. I've said this a billion times, and I'll say it a billion times more. Love everyone. Because, and I'll tell you the because you say to yourself, I am, because you are the one. God bless y'all. Merry Christmas. Bob Charles and Jamie Clark.